Hi, my dear friends. How are you doing today? I hope you're all having a great day and set for another story, because today I have a great story for you. It's about honesty. Now, are you an honest person? I'm sure you are. You have to know that honesty always pays off, and we should always be honest, even if sometimes we think that this is not the good thing to do. But you have to know that if we're honest, eventually we'll be successful. So, don't go anywhere. This story has a lot of lessons in it. I'll be back after a short break to tell you about the story. Once upon a time, in a big old town, there was a manager. The manager was so successful, and he had a big firm with lots of clerks in it. He was so happy. He loved his work, and he was a very just boss as well. But years have passed, and he grew old. And after some time, he knew that he has to retire. But he had to hand over the management of his firm to another person. But how he will choose? Well, he was so smart, so he thought of something. One day, he gathered everyone, and he told them, I will choose my manager next year. But why did I call you here today? I have a test for all of you, and all of you have a chance of being the executive manager. They all were wondering what the test was. Suddenly, the manager came out and said, here are some seeds. You take them and you plant them. 1 year from now, I will see that how your plants are. If they are good, I will choose you as the executive manager. They were all so excited. So they took the seeds and they took them to their houses. Among them, there was someone. His name was Jim. Jim was a manager too, but he was not a very rich one. He really liked to promote, because that way he could change the life of himself and his wife. He was a good person, with a good heart and honest. So that day he was so happy. He finally had a shot to be an executive manager. So he took the seat and he went to his wife, and he told her all about her day. His wife was so happy too. So she provided him with a pot. And Jim went out and found some soil. They planted the seed, and every day they watered it and they took care of it. And they were waiting to see what the plant was. Well, what do you think that did grow? Follow me through the story. I'll be back after a short break and I will tell you. Welcome back. Now, if you remember, the manager had provided all of his clerks with a seed, and he asked them to bring the plants 1 year later. Jim was so happy. He finally had a shot to have the executive manager position in the firm. So he went to his wife and he asked him to plant the seed. They planted the seed, but days and days passed and nothing was happening. Jim did not know what was wrong. He did everything right, but there was no plant. He grew sadder and sadder. He knew that he should say goodbye to his hope to be an executive manager. Every day he would go to the work and he would hear that everyone's talking about the beautiful plants that they had. So he thought to himself, what did I do wrong? I have killed my seed. I don't know how to plant a seed. I'm not gonna be an executive manager after all. He was so sad. Days passed and passed and passed, and 1 year later, it was time to bring all of the pots to the farm. Everyone had grown beautiful plants. It was full of flowers and beautiful flowers and beautiful leaves. Jim was standing in a bag, holding his empty pot in his hands. He thought of the earlier the day. He told his wife, how about I replace this pot with another one, and I will take him a beautiful plant. His wife said, Jim, remember, being honest is the best thing of all. I don't care if you're a manager or not. I just want you to be honest. Jim thought for a while, and then he knew that his wife is right. So he took the empty pot to the farm. At the farm, when he saw the beautiful plants, he was a little bit nervous because he thought that the manager would tell him that you're a failure and he might even fire him. Jim thought, I shouldn't have listened to my wife and I should have replaced it with another plant. But it was too late. Some of his colleagues looked at him and laughed at him, and some of them felt sorry for him. They knew that he didn't do a good job. After some moments, the time was near, and they saw that the manager is walking through the hall. The manager came in, and he saw all of the beautiful plants. He said, I see that all of you have grown beautiful flowers. I don't know which one to choose, so I have to look better. He was looking and looking and looking. Who do you think that he chose? Well, stay with me. I'll be back after a few minutes and I'll tell you what will happen. Welcome back. Now, if you remember, Jim had no plant, and it was the day of giving the plants to the boss. And boss was about to choose someone for the role of executive manager. Jim wanted it so much, but there was no plan. So he had gave away his hopes, and he was standing in a bag so that the boss wouldn't see him. But the boss didn't choose anyone. He was walking through the people, and he was looking at their plants. He walked and walked and walked until he saw Jim. Jim was so nervous. He thought to himself, what will he do? Will he yell at me because I was a total failure? The boss saw Jim and told him, I see that your pot is empty. What happened? Jim was so sorry, and he said, I'm sorry, boss. I did everything that I could. I planted it and I watered it every day, but it seemed that I killed it. The boss smiled. Jim was so surprised. Why was he smiling? He looked at the crowd and said, I chose. Jim is the executive manager. Everyone was so surprised. What was he talking about? Jim didn't have any plants. Other people had beautiful flowers with leaves on them, but Jim brought an ugly and empty pot. The manager explained. He said that, you see, I boiled all of the seeds and they would never grow. But today you're here with all of kinds of beautiful and different flowers. I see that you replaced the seed. But I see that Jim had told me the right thing, and he told me the truth. Being a manager, you have to be always truthful. So, who's better than Jim? Everyone agreed, although they were a little jealous. Because if they were honest, they may take the position of executive manager. Jim was walking on air. He was so happy. And on the time, he called his wife and he told her everything. The manager was so proud of Jim too, and he was proud of his choice. After a lot of years, Jim ran the company, and he was so successful. And he would always stuck to this manner of being honest. So that's what made him a great manager. Did you like today's story? Did you see how honesty tastes? It has the taste of honey. You have to know that honesty always brings success, especially in your work. So, don't forget to be honest in all of stages of your life. But don't go anywhere. I'll be back with the morals of the story. Welcome back. I'm here with the morals of the story. Did you see how honest Jim was? And although he thought that it's not so good to be honest, it paid off for him. It's the best policy to be honest at all of the times. Islam requests us to be honest and tell the truth, even if it's against our will. And you have to stick to that because it's very important. If you lie, you may lose a lot of opportunities, just like the other colleagues of Jim. You saw that they thought that they're so clever that they tricked their boss. But you saw that it didn't work out for them. It's always best to tell the truth. Always remember that, even if you think that it's not the right thing to do. Because Islam always orders us for the best, and Islam ordered us to be truthful at all the time. Well, did you like today's story? It was so beautiful, and it had a beautiful lesson in it. It was about honesty, which is the most important thing in our lives. If people are not honest, there will be no trust. And if there is no trust, there will be no friends. So, you remember that, right? Promise me to be honest all of the time. Now, that's it for today's story. You can contact us through our pages in Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Telegram, and YouTube. You can find us at Hodhod English TV. You can also visit our site in hodhodenglish.tv. I hope that all of you will have a great day and take care of yourselves. I will miss you so much, but I will be here the next time tomorrow. So don't forget to tune in. Until then, so long, my friends.